We are kicking off week 4 of the Frostburg Sports Awards with our female athlete of the week, Todi Fiacco-Miser from women's soccer, who helped the team to a couple of big wins in the MEC. Todi, a couple of goals and a couple of assists for you in the week, and as mentioned, a couple of big wins for the team. How would you rate your performance and the team's performance?
I think the team looks great. I think I saw the Frostburg Sports Instagram and it was like, this team is special. And that's really true. Like the energy we have, like being able to come back and get ahead really early, like we are really gelling as a team. It's been great.
In the first game of the week on Wednesday against Fairmont State, the number 2 team in the MEC North coming into that game, and a really athletic and talented team. How big was it for you guys to, be able to withstand kind of that early 30 minutes where both teams are figuring each other out, get the goal, which you scored off the PK, and then score another 2 in the second half? But, that coming into that was the best team that we had played all year. How big was it for you guys to get that result?
Well, so full credit to Fairmont. They were really quick on the ball. They moved the ball better than other teams we've been playing recently. So we had to settle into that. But that result was super important because we just wanted to prove that we could play against a good team and show that we also know how to play soccer, keep the ball on the ground and have possession. So I think settling in was difficult the first 30 minutes, but then once we got the PK and the second half came around, we were settled in and we were playing our game, which we succeeded in.
Speaking on that penalty, and earlier in the year, you missed a penalty against West Liberty, and a little bit of antics from the goalkeeper in that one. But going into this penalty, and you were trusted with it yet again, what was going through your mind with, did you think about that earlier miss? Were you just trying to score this one and knowing it's such a big moment? What sort of the mentality that you were going through?
So before the game, Coach Parker asked me, he said, if there's a PK, do you want it? And I was like, yes, of course. And then when I was lining up for the PK, the other team was screaming, we saw the film, and I was like, well, they know exactly where I'm going. So I was like, should I go the other way? And then I think the goalie was like, she's going to go the other way because they're screaming this. So obviously I was nervous, but I definitely, different from West Lib, I took my deep breaths, some meditation, and took a second to kick the ball before just going. So I think I'm working on calming myself down, but it was definitely stress before I ran up to the ball.
In the game against Davis and Elkins, then a road match, and the first team from the MEC South that you guys have played against. Coming into the game, D&E was second in the country in goals scored per game. They were averaging 4 per contest. You guys went 2-0 down, and some mistakes at the back, and just not having it all together. What was the mentality of the team to come back and get together and regroup after allowing the most goals we'd allowed all year in just under a half an hour?
So one of the biggest things for our team is that we like to say that either side of the team can have a bad day and the other side will make up for it. Like, for example, if the defense has a bad half, Abby would come up to me and score a goal for me. And I'm like, okay. And so that's kind of our mentality, is that we know if we go down that we have faith in each other, that there's no way we're going to lose. We have to come back. We have to do it for our defense because in many games where they've protected us, like West Lib, where we were only up 1-0 and they just held the fort down. So we just have this great chemistry and bond on the field that there was no heads down. Everyone, after both goals, our heads were up. We were like, we just got to push. We got to push as hard as we can. And coming back from that, sometimes we just like to make the game interesting,
One of the most important pieces of chemistry for the team this year has been you and Mackenzie Alonso up top, where you guys have pretty much been the starters for this year. Last year you were a regular starter, and Mackenzie was sort of coming off the bench and learning her role as a freshman. Now as a sophomore, she's trusted in that role and really paid off this game, got herself a pair of goals and an assist to you. The partnership that you guys have, where you come into the game and you're going up against center backs that are 5'8", 5'9", you're both touching about 5'3", but you guys have so much speed and a good connection. How have you guys built that over the past couple of years, where you're now the 2 starters in those roles?
Well, I think we kind of call ourselves gnats. So we like to run around and we both trust each other with the ball. If I pass her the ball, I'm always like, well, I'm either going to get it back or she's going to score, So I love her on the field, and she's a great partner to have up there because we can truly wreak havoc on those 5'8" center backs that cannot move as quickly as we can. So it's been a great time, honestly, and I'm happy for her.
You guys have started off the year 8-0 so far. It's the best start in program history. Does that go through your guys' mind as you go into every week of man, we can't let this go? Or is it, the old cliche that you take one game at a time, you just focus on your next opponent, and you don't worry about what you're doing or where you are in any kind of rankings or any of that stuff?
Well, obviously there is pressure when you're like 8-0, you want to get to 9-0 and 10-0 and so on, but our mentality is like our next game is always our biggest game, and that's something that Coach Parker always drills into us before games. It doesn't matter who we're playing, doesn't matter what our statistics are, doesn't even matter like where we are. It's just like this is our biggest game because it's our next game. So it's interesting to balance like the pressure from having this record versus being able to like stay humble and stay next game. But I think the team is doing a great job, especially from our leadership with Hannah and Abby. So it's been good.
Well, Tony, thank you for coming on today to talk to us. A big couple of results for you guys. Congratulations on that and your individual performances. We're going to be hoping for some more coming up in the week and the season as a whole, but thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, next up, we will continue with our awards with our Coach of the Week, Jeff Splinter from tennis, as his women's team picked up their first victory of the year. Back on week 4 of the Frostburg Sports Awards with our Coach of the Week, Jeff Splinter, as his women's tennis team picked up their first win of the year over Kutztown on the road. Coach, a big result for you guys, finally getting that win number 1 on the belt.
Yeah, thank you. It took a little bit of time this semester. We had a good warm-up match with UDC, and UDC is one of the top teams in the East region, and a good test early, and the women had a lot of really close results there, and going up against some of their girls was a good test, and a lot of good competitive matches where last year we saw a lot of blowout losses, a lot of losses where we weren't really competitive, and this year Moriaspa went 3 sets with one of their girls, and Lorena and Alyssa battled, and Alyssa lost in a tiebreaker, I think, in the first set. So a lot of really close matches that kind of prepared us for this, and Kutztown was a match where we really went out there and kind of performed the way we wanted to.
You speak about earlier this year as well. You got a chance to see your team at the ITA regional tournament up in Bloomsburg, and Alyssa and Lorena both came out with wins on the women's side there. It was a good, kind of feel for you to see how some of the players are going to react to, really the best competition that's going to be in our region, both in that tournament and then coming up throughout the year. What did you learn a bit about, your team from that weekend of, how they're going to play against competitive players and competitive teams as a whole?
Yeah, well, first we were fortunate to get 4 players in the singles draw. Last year on the women's side, we brought you're guaranteed 2 in one doubles team. So this year we were fortunate enough to get our top 4 girls in and our top 2 doubles teams, and we really just kind of saw the resolve of all our players. The will to win is something that we really noticed, and our girls and guys the entire weekend fought and battled for every point. Nothing free. We really focused and practiced on consistency and just long drawn out points, not giving away any free points to our opponents. And you could really sense that at ITAs where Lorena and Alyssa won their first round match in doubles, and then from then on, like the energy and everything that everyone who was not playing was watching the matches, and they were bringing a lot of noise, bringing a lot of excitement for everyone playing, and you could really feel like the team camaraderie really come together. We brought 5 first-year players to that tournament plus Lorena, so it was a good mix of new and old, and Lorena kind of showing them the ropes of ITAs, and we were fortunate to get those first round wins from Lorena, Alyssa, and then Julia had to pull out with an injury, but she was winning her first set, and then Moriaspa lost, and then Julia and Moriaspa in doubles lost to the eventual champions. So they fought hard to a 7-5 loss, but man, they definitely regret not doing more of that one. So it was good, yeah.
talked about the newcomers and wanted to talk about Alyssa and Mariaspa who have come in. Alyssa has taken over the number 1 spot, at least until Julia comes back, and then Mariaspa at number 3. Two players that have made a real impact early on, and they paired for another doubles win against Kutztown. And, bringing in the strong recruits and pairing them, you can put Lorena in at number 2 and have her be more competitive against other teams' number 2s, and where she doesn't have to go 1v1. Pretty big, couple of gets for you coming out of the recruiting trail.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got 3 girls on the women's side. We brought in 5 or 6 guys on the men's side, and there's someone that we anticipate all of them coming in, and it's just going to enhance what we already have. So those girls coming in and competing with the girls on the team makes everybody on the team better, and it also continues to enhance their game as well. So I know Alyssa coming in as a freshman, and then Mariaspa and Julia coming in as transfers, sophomores and juniors, or sophomore and freshmen. Still kind of working through some match nerves, but Julia and Mariaspa are someone that come in and have that match play experience in college already, to where they can really relay that information to Alyssa, and they can relay that information to all of our starters from last year. And we have a really nice battle towards the bottom of the lineup now, where girls who started last year are now having to work a little bit harder to start this year. So we're seeing everyone's level rise, because you either continue to raise your level, or now we have options to start in singles and doubles.
Wanted to talk about that part of the roster where in tennis, it's every single match is pretty important. You've got to take the doubles point, and then you have 6 singles matches to decide who's going to win it. So your bottom 3 have to be as good, if not better, than your top 3 in terms of their performances. You looked at those results, and Betsy Hickson, Robbie Ladon, and Jen Dieterle, who have been here, it seems, almost 5 or 6 years, even though they're still just wrapping up their careers here. But you pretty much know over the past few years what you're going to get out of them, and like you said, it's just going to raise their levels with new competition coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've noticed that a lot out of Manny, Robbie, Maddie, Jen, Sydney. These girls are putting in the extra time. They're lifting heavier weights. They're really focused on doing what they're doing, and then also making sure that they're playing a big part in making sure everyone that's new this year feels welcome. And we have a great team environment on the team this year too. It's a lot of fun. I know, obviously, winning this weekend always a lot more fun than losing. So, it's something big that we all kind of celebrated together as a team, and that's something that we're really excited to continue to build this year, and continue to grow as the team gets better. And practices every day has been just as important as the matches themselves, where our girls can now go up against players that they're going to play against, if not better competition. I think we noticed that this weekend against Kutztown is, we played Kutztown last year. I think it would have been a very close match, but now that we have been playing a lot of matches and points at practice, it makes things a little bit easier when we go up against these kind of teams that, it can be a 50-50 match.
Well, Coach, thank you for coming on today to talk to us. You've obviously got practices and matches now to prepare for every week, but really appreciate your time. Congratulations on your win, and we'll be hoping to see a few more here throughout the fall.
All right, thank you. Go Bobcats.
All right, next up, we'll stay with tennis, and Cole Alcala will come in as our male athlete of the week, so be sure to stay tuned for the end of the interview. Wrapping up week 4 of the Frostburg Sports Awards is Cole Alcala, who is our male athlete of the week from men's tennis. Cole, you picked up an individual win this past week. A rough 5-2 loss for you guys, but still, being competitive and just kind of working through the motions. How would you rate your performance and the team's performance overall?
I think I played pretty good. I just go out there and try and do what I can do, try and get a point for the team, and then just have fun, I think the team, they tried their best, and they show a lot of potential. So I'm excited for the future and what we're going to become.
Yeah, certainly some tough results and losses to take for them. But for yourself, you've come in as a freshman, and you're now at the number 2 singles on the team, 1 spot behind Herman, who has taken over number 1. coming in with, I guess you would call it a little bit of pressure with being in that high rank with just the 6 singles matches. But, have you found it any pressure, or are you just confident in your own ability that no matter where Coach Splinter's going to put you, that you can do your job anywhere in the lineup?
I mean, yeah, I'm very confident in where I am because Herman's also a freshman and he's playing number 1, so it's just like there's more than what I am. So it's like I'm kind of looking at Herman and I'm like, wow, like that's what I should be aiming for. So yeah, not much pressure. I feel good about it.
And then you guys will actually partner in the number 1 doubles, where you're both coming in as freshmen and just getting to know each other within basically a month of the season. And, how has that partnership sort of formed? How have you guys built a connection, so far with working with each other for such a limited time?
We're both singles players, so trying to play doubles together is definitely a learning experience. But we're having fun because like we're learning together, and I like him. He's fun to play with, and he's just fun to be around. So he makes it a lot easier than if like I was playing with someone who's more experienced and I'm trying to learn and they're like already know everything. So I think it's a good matchup.
Last week you competed at the ITA regional tournament and picked up a first round victory, and then unfortunately knocked out in the second round. But we're able to also partner with Herman in a doubles match, and able to learn a lot about the region and some of the teams that you're going to face, and even not competing against them, but watching some of the other guys and picking up from their cues. What was the value of that experience to get that early look at some of these teams and players?
Yeah, it just shows how much competition there is and how much room we have to grow. And I mean, they were really good, so I was disappointed when I lost my second one, but it is what it is. I think I learned a lot, and they were really good. So I'm happy to be in a conference where I can compete and hopefully get better.
Speaking of the conference, the MEC starts up in the spring. For the fall, it's a relatively light load in terms of the amount of matches, and you've got some tournaments in between, but it's really good, in my eyes, a preparation for some of the younger players to get used to the college game. Is that something that you see too, where it's not necessarily tune-ups, but you're getting used to the flow of college matches before really the heavy part of the spring schedule and conference kicks in?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. I think the way I look at it is like the fall season is a lot more individual than the spring season, whereas like the spring season, you're really trying to like win as a team and try and like get the team a better ranking in the conference, whereas in the fall, my look at it is I'm just trying to get better and I'm just trying to improve myself, so when the spring comes and I have confidence in what I can do and try and get better.
Well, Cole, thank you for coming on today. You've obviously got your classes and practices and matches now coming at full force, but we appreciate your time. Congratulations on your win, and we'll be hoping for some more throughout the fall here.
Thank you for having me. Hopefully this isn't the last time I'm here.
We hope so too. So that wraps it up for week 4 of the Frostburg Sports Awards. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, go Bobcats.